Buckeyes at 2-0, but not everybody happy. Talking Ohio State football, we got Best Damn Media here as the Buckeyes take on Western Kentucky and what could be a test for the pass defense coming up this Saturday. We got Mike, we got Ron. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing good, Mark. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Good to have you. Ryan Day made it official today. If nobody paid attention to the game against Youngstown State, I think it was all out there on the field for us to determine, okay, Kyle McCord's the starting quarterback because Devin Brown is just not getting the reps. And even going back to the Indiana game, obviously, and maybe the game didn't present itself was the factor or the reasoning there. So I'll let you guys take it from here in regards to Kyle McCord, the decision, and maybe Devin Brown at least not getting the opportunity that many thought he would get, at least on game day.
Yeah, so all off season, I've been saying that Kyle McCord is going to be the guy. Some of my reasons were personal, but from everything that was leading up to the season, it just seemed like it was Kyle McCord. From the off-season interviews, even that Kyle McCord and Marv had an off-season interview during the summer that wasn't with any of the beat writers, and it just kind of seemed like Kyle was stepping into his own, and Devin was there to beat him out. I do kind of wish if this was a battle that things were a little bit more even, because you saw Kyle got to make his mistakes, then get to correct them and show it in another game, but we don't get to see Devin do that exact same thing. But I'm happy with Kyle. Hopefully Ryan Day picked the right guy, and we're going to go forward. It's Kyle's season.
I mean, I'm happy with Kyle being the guy, and I'm glad the circus is away from the team. I'm glad that this is announced and they can move forward. The quarterback can assert themselves as a true leader and not be looking over their shoulder. So exciting to see that chapter is closed in this battle. I wish it would have played out differently for Devin Brown if it was truly a battle, if he would have gotten those reps. I think it would have been a little bit more fair. I didn't really love Ryan Day's handling of the situation. I wish he would have just named Kyle the starter earlier or let Devin actually battle for that position in front of everyone and actually get those equal reps that he told us in the press conferences that he was going to get. But I'm just glad that it's actually put behind us. I think Kyle is more than capable. You saw him take steps forward in the most recent game. So excited that this chapter is behind us and excited to move forward and really have an idea of what this team's going to look like.
I make an assumption when a quarterback is in position to be the starting quarterback at a place like Ohio State that he's got plenty of talent. So that I almost dismiss. Not that he's a generational talent, not that he's Justin Fields or anything like that, but that he can be one of the 10 or 15 best quarterbacks in the country, that from a talent standpoint, there's no question. So it's more about deciding, is this the guy that's going to take charge of the team on the field? Is this the guy that's going to be poised? Is this the guy that's tough? Is this the guy that's a leader? And all those things, going to make the right decisions in the progressions, all those things, because if they were out there throwing the football around in tees and shorts, I think we all know that it would look impressive. Kyle McCord doesn't look necessarily like that guy through the first two games. So I'm guessing that now that he's named the starter, he's going to feel more confident, putting the weight on the back foot and letting that thing rip downfield more.
I don't think it's just about confidence in the game. I think it's about actual preparation opportunities. Now that he's officially the guy, he's no longer sharing reps in practice. He's getting those full first team reps within practice. And yeah, like you said, not looking over his shoulder. So I think not only just the preparation going into the game, having a full game where he's not going to be coming out and be able to establish a full rhythm against Western Kentucky. He's able to take all of the first team reps through the week and carry himself as the leader, as the true leader of this team, and with the confidence that he really needs to have to lead this team.
Just about that confidence, you could see even the dance when they came out the first week. He looked a little bit stiff in the warm-up dance, but in that second week, he came out and he just looked a little bit more energized, like it was his team. And, a lot of people wonder if Kyle has that dog. And, I think he's that same guy in high school. When he did run the ball, he was running over guys. So I think he's that same guy.
Do we liken this to the CJ Stroud first couple games in 2021? Because I see similarities and then I see differences. I see similarities in that CJ Stroud did not look like the CJ Stroud that stepped off the field against Georgia in the playoffs back in 2021. No doubt. He was hesitant. He was kind of feeling for it, not letting it cut loose a lot of the time. But I do think that we were a bit hard on him as a fan base at the time. There are a lot of people all over him after he throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns against Minnesota. Now, that wasn't the prettiest 304 TD performance you're ever going to see. The wide receivers helped him out considerably. And then considering against Oregon, he had to play from behind the entire game. The offense was on his shoulders and only his second start. I think he threw 53 passes in that game. So, yeah, he makes a bad judgment late in the game, overshoots somebody along the sideline, throws a pick that cost Ohio State from at least having a shot to win the game. So the Buckeye fan base was coming down on CJ Stroud. But I thought that those two games, especially considering the opponents, looked better than Kyle McCord's first two.
Absolutely. I think CJ, I don't think it's a fair comparison when people say that Kyle's struggling like CJ did. Just give him time. I don't think that Kyle's first two performances are comparable to what CJ did. I think a lot of people need to go back and watch those two games. While we did struggle and weren't able to get the win against Oregon, CJ threw some ridiculous passes in those games and had a lot of touchdown passes over the course of those two games. And one of the things that we struggled to do in the first game against Indiana was get the ball into the end zone in the air. So to compare them, I don't really think that's fair, but I do see where people are coming from, that you saw the progression of CJ from CJ's first start at Ohio State didn't look like his last start at Ohio State. So the track record is there for Ryan Day's development. So there is reason for hope. And I think that he does, like you said, the baseline for talent is there once you step in the door as an Ohio State quarterback. I think once he has time in Ryan Day's system, he fully asserts himself as the quarterback of this team, takes all of the reps and continues to develop in this offense and has more game film to learn from. He's really only threw 20 passes last year in the offense. So just having that game film to learn from and continue to go out there and make mistakes and learn from them. I know the timetable is a little bit short with Notre Dame right around the corner, but overall, I do believe in Ryan Day's ability to develop, and I think his trajectory is going to be high.
So there are similarities where you say, oh, CJ didn't look that comfortable. I'll say that his receivers, actually, I believe were better at getting separation was one. But one thing that CJ got to go into that season was knowing that he was the guy. Even though in the offseason, Ryan Day was saying it was a battle, we all knew, everybody knew that it wasn't a battle. CJ was the guy. So to be able to have those reps, to be able to build that chemistry, to the receivers, you all being on one page, because with Kyle, the receivers are having to be on a page with Kyle. They're having to be on a page with Devin, and it looks like the offense is being called different depending on which quarterback is out there.
One quick thing that you said there, the offense being called different. I mean, if you watch the Indiana game, I mean, we ran so much 12 personnel. I mean, we even saw times where we had 3 tight ends out there, and I don't really think that's going to be the offense that we see against the Notre Dame game. I do think that Kyle was a bit victim to the vanilla play call of week 1, and with this running clock, you're not seeing the reps. You're not really being as explosive in the first couple weeks. I feel like Ryan Day, once that game wasn't a blowout in the first 3 series, he got tight and was ready to just get out of there with the win and move on to the next week and didn't want to get cute with it. So I thought we saw a very vanilla play call, and I still don't think that we've really seen the full scope of the offense yet. And I think this week with the passing attack of Western Kentucky, and how many more possessions that we'll see, I think that we will open it up a little bit more, and then I think you'll see the full playbook against Notre Dame. So I do still think there are ways for Kyle to get better without him having to personally develop, but just be benefit from the circumstances as the playbook opens up.
Yeah, I got to believe we haven't seen a quarterback at Ohio State line up under center as much as Kyle McCord did against Indiana since Tressel was the coach. It was, yeah.
It was a nod to him in the Tressel Bowl.
All right, we got Mike here. We got Ron here. You can catch them on Best Damn Media. Guys, what's the best way to find you guys?
If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at 2Ts. That's 2_TES. We host a morning Buckeye show called the Buckeye Roast at 8 a.m. every morning. And me and Mike do a show called Buckeye BS together every Sunday at 10 a.m.
And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at 216_wildboy. I will be on those shows that or one of the shows, the Sunday show, as Ron said. And then you can catch me every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern on the Best Damn Media YouTube channel with the Fans Edge. That's our national college football show.
Okay, everybody's talking quarterback, but the bigger issue may be the offensive line. So Josh Simmons in particular doesn't look good. I don't know that anyone looks outstanding along the front. They can't run the ball consistently. That seems to be more of a problem. I didn't see much of the Youngstown State game. I saw every play of the Indiana game. I thought the protection was fine for the most part in that game. So, what are the answers up front?
The answers is Josh Simmons and the guys that are struggling need to put in extra work after practice, need to be in the Woody a whole lot longer. I believe if Josh Simmons had came in and was able to be developed in the spring, some of these issues could have been worked out. But because you're only as a coach able to get your hands on them in the fall, and that's when, basically he came in the summer. The coach is only able to touch him in the fall. There's a lot of, I believe, fundamentals that needs to be worked with Josh Simmons, especially getting his pad level lower. As you can see, he got the hands to the face. Even when they finally allowed the score to happen, he still got a hands to the face. They just didn't call it and the helmet didn't come off. I think if he gets his pad levels lower, that will help out a lot. But I do like what Indiana and Tom Allen brought for this offensive line, because the way he schemes up his defense, that gives them something that they can coach up on film and worked on. And it does look like they worked on. And I think that after this week, they can work on all of the other issues that they had.
Yeah, one of the things that we've talked about on all the shows is it doesn't seem like they're getting physically dominated when they're losing. They're losing because of communication issues. Josh Simmons a little bit this week seemed to have more struggles physically, but mostly against Indiana, they seem to be alignment issues. And I think those are things that you'll get corrected where you're having a new starter at center. And as he gets more comfortable with the quarterbacks pointing out the protections and then him getting more comfortable calling out the alignments, I think he will grow in that position. And I feel like we'll see a lot less of those issues. And I have all the faith in the world in Justin Fry getting those things hammered out. I do have concerns with Josh Simmons at the left tackle. I mean, I think if he continues to struggle with the penalties, because you can get away with those things against Indiana's and Youngstown States, but as these games get more crucial, I don't think we're going to be able to tolerate those type of penalties, putting the offense behind, especially with the limited amount of possessions in these games that we're seeing. So I think every snap is going to be meaningful, especially these false start penalties, these holdings, hands to the face. All of these things need to stop up front because they're putting the offense behind schedule. So keeping the offense on schedule is important. So if that means getting someone else in there, a Tegra Shabola, Luke Montgomery, shaking things up, I think that's something that you're going to have to look into after the Notre Dame game if we're still seeing him struggle with holding calls, the false starts, and all of those things. Because a lot of, not like I said, a lot of this isn't physical. A lot of these are mental errors and discipline errors. And if he can't get that together, I think it's time that they look at other options at that position if he's not able to get those settled by Notre Dame.
Folks, the Amazon links in the description section. Same shopping experience. Doesn't cost you a penny. Please use the Amazon link that we provide right there. We got Ron. We got Mike. One other thing I wanted to hit you guys up on is because of the offensive line having issues, especially in the running game, we talked about it the last time you guys were on. We've talked about it. We talk about it as you guys probably do every day, practically, the running back situation. And, there are situations for different styles of running backs. There are different styles of defenses. There are different parts of the game. There are obviously plays that suit more different running backs, but maybe this is a situation where this offensive line suits certain running backs different. So Travion Henderson's amazing in the open field. I don't know if he's the guy to slam it up in there during certain parts of the ball game. You guys' thoughts about the running back distribution and who should be playing? And
so I think everyone's first thought when they see these offensive line struggles is to get a big bruiser in there and let them pound into this line and get these tough runs out of the way. But my thought is we need to get the guy with the most vision out there, because these holes are sporadic. Some of them are popping up where they shouldn't be because guys are misaligned. And I think you need the guy with the most vision out there to be able to see these holes and actually be the most creative when it comes to getting through the line of scrimmage and then making the most of their plays. And I think that's Chip Trayanum. I think he has the best vision in the backfield, but they have him starting at fullback. So I don't know how much we'll see him. And the one thing I'm starting to lose my will to argue about the depth chart, because Ryan Day seems so set in his ways about things. Because I mean, in his first press conference, he looks at the yards per carry and he sees mine and Trey under 4 yards, and he's all, under 4 yards, got to do better than that. And then 10 minutes later, he's talking about how he has to get Trey more carries. And then in this week's press conference, he's talking about, man, Dallin Hayden really needs to get on the field. That's a guy that we need to get carries, but I need to get Trey carries. I need to get Trey more carries. He seems to have an emphasis on getting Travion carries, and it's almost like he has an agenda or something tied to Trey that he wants him to play, because every time he starts to suggest that the running back position needs to be better or someone else needs to play, he always falls back on, but everybody needs more carries, but Trey needs more carries too. So like he always seems to single Trey out and try to catch himself that Trey is the guy, and he seems adamant about it. So I don't know how much that I can scream and yell on podcasts or different YouTube channels that Ryan Day should play Chip. They seem content having him, play fullback, and he's doing a great job. The Big Ten came out and said he wasn't holding on that play. So right after the announcers complimented his play at fullback, he gets the holding call. But then which seems to be coming tradition, the Big Ten tells us, no, we actually took that touchdown away from Ohio State, but shouldn't have done that. So I don't think Chip is going to get in, but I do think he is the best running back fit for this line and the struggles that they're having.
Trey is amazing when you're able to get him the ball in space. That's when he's the best. But when you're talking about your every down back, just to hit on some of the things that Chip does really well is setting up blocks, being patient, seeing different holes with his vision. And we just see every time Chip gets in, normally he's averaging, 5+ yards a carry. It wasn't that much this week, but I think if he was your every down back, if you were giving him the ball that much, I really believe he would get the feel of the game and be able to set those. Even when things weren't there in the Indiana game, he was making stuff happen. And I like the way they're using Mayan in the goal line package. Now, I don't want to see Mayan running stretch. I don't think that's his strength. I like seeing Mayan running between the tackles.
Appreciate you guys stopping by, breaking down the Buckeyes for us.